Yo, we're live. I missed yesterday. I had to do a bunch of stuff yesterday before we went out to Columbus for the day. And by the time I finished all that, it was like midnight, and I was not going to hop on for a stream. So, yeah, kind of difficult to stay consistent with this. You're probably going to hear my children in the background as well because I'm doing it earlier than I typically do to make up for the lost time. Okay, so right now, what I guess I'm going to show you guys is I am working on this video for a buddy of mine out in Arizona. We used to work together. Really good dude. He has an amazing story. I'll show you guys.
Yeah.
So like this part right here, that part can be gone. We don't delete that part from the video. Let's start it over.
Don't die. I profusely bleeded and laid there on the corner of Fort Market and Old City, Philadelphia.
Why does it sound that way? Let's remove that. Let's start this over.
Don't let me die here. Don't let me die here. I profusely pleaded as I laid there on the corner of 4th and Market and Old City, Philadelphia. I was just shot 6 times.
All right. Let me see here. That's the one thing I don't really care for on the script is I don't see a denoiser on here. Like, it didn't sound good with that effectiveness.
It was worse.
See? Sounds horrible. But maybe I can adjust it. The intensity is so high. Can I change that? Can we do like 20%? See if that makes a difference.
23 years old. Still had so much in me. It all started with an argument my best friend was having with another guy as the bars let out at 2 a.m.
Yeah, let's start from the top.
Don't let me die here.
Okay. That's we got to go a little bit more. Let's go 50. All right, because the rustling papers in the background we don't want.
Don't let me die here. Don't let me die here. I profusely pleaded as I laid there on the corner of 4th and Market and Old City, Philadelphia. I was just shot 6 times. It was January 7th, 2010. I was 23 years old. And I still had so much life left in me. It all started with an argument my best friend was having with another guy as the bars let out at 2 a.m. I laid there, my body on fire. I looked down at my shirt. It was soaked in blood. And at that moment, I realized I was unable to move my legs. Later, in the days that followed, I learned that I had a bullet lodged in my spinal nerves. And because of that night, my life would change forever. I would go on to spend over 100 days in the hospital. I would endure more than 20 surgeries. And then another grueling 8 weeks in the rehabilitation facility.
Right, because it's going.
I had to relearn how to do everything.
We're good.
I had to relearn how to do everything.
Okay.
I had to relearn.
That's cool.
I had to relearn how to do it. I had to relearn how to do everything. I had to relearn. I had to relearn. I had to relearn how to.
Oh, you're good, man. You're good. Didn't even realize you were there.
I had to relearn.
You're good, bro.
I had to relearn how.
We are.
I had to relearn.
Come on.
I had to.
Hopefully this isn't super annoying. I know it's annoying for me.
I had to relearn.
Dude, like any artist here. Here you go.
I had to relearn how to do everything.
I mean, it's a pretty intense story. I'm not trying to make light of
how to stand up.
What's going on here, but
and then
let's see. Importing 3 videos. Okay, cool. So look at that. We got something here. We'll see. We'll see how this turns out. Obviously, I'm just delegating all the work to AI here. I used to do this shit all myself. I had a TikTok account. You can see I got pretty decent at editing. I thought that posting good cat edit videos would do well. Maybe they would have if I would have stuck with it, but they did not hit the way I wanted them to hit. And I didn't really care about cat edit videos, but I did that. I think it's called like cat facts. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull up a little piece of Louis history for you guys. Let's see here. I am going to search. I think it's cat facts. Oh, wow. Now there are so many. There it is. This was my edits. Like, I did some original stuff. Like, nothing. It wasn't that great. But
this cat has a net worth of $100 million. Her name is Nala, and here's how she made her fortune. It all began when Nala was adopted at 5 months old. Her owner's cousin from Thailand said the cat was cute and she should start an Instagram page for it. Her owner listened and soon became the most popular cat on Instagram. She even has the plaque to prove it. From there, they started Love Nala.
see, it's not like super good, but I used to do all that shit. And I didn't like doing that stuff. See, there's me.
This is a miniature cat, and it holds the record for being the smallest cat in the world. Its name is Singapura, and they stand between 6 to 8 inches tall. This is a miniature cat, and it holds the record for being the smallest cat in the world.
Yeah, that cat's fake. Yeah, probably.
Its name is Singapura, and they stand between
Look at
6
that. I
to
look like a Muslim there.
8 inches tall and can weigh as little as 4 pounds, which is perfect because this cat lives in the gutter.
Dude, I have like a really full beard. I got a child crying downstairs. Oh my goodness. It's popping off. This is why I don't do these live streams before 8 o'clock. But it's all good. It's all good. Kids are awesome. I have a bunch of kids. I got a house full of kids. 2 more on the way. Extremely blessed. Anyway, look at that full beard.
No, seriously, they're
I mean, that did well. That video did okay, right? Got 3,300 views, 3,900 views, 30K views. Like, I know how to make fucking good videos on TikTok. It just takes some time.
This cute cat is going extinct. That's because there's less than 100 of them in the entire world, making them the rarest domestic cat breed on the planet. Follow if you think Soka cat.
Wow, I'm surprised that got so high. I don't recall it ever doing that.
This cute cat is going extinct. That's because there's. This is. Here's why
Does it say? Oh,
this cat has a net worth of $100 million. Here's why this cute cat is going extinct.
Whoa! All right, so there we go. Now we're looking back at some of these old videos, and a lesson is in here, folks. Do not remove your TikTok videos. This video,
this cute
I
cat.
no longer use this channel. I don't have it on my phone anymore. It was posted September 4th, 2023. I had mentioned earlier I'd stopped this channel because it wasn't picking up fast enough the way I wanted it to. And I didn't really care about the topic too much. I was doing it for the clicks, for the gram, as the kids say, but for the talk. That could be bad. Don't clip that part up for the tick. That still could be bad. I was doing it for social media. So, September 14th, 2023. It is almost September 2025. I'd stopped this. This got 30,000 views. Okay? The comments start coming in when? 2 months later. This was a month. 2 months. It took 2 months for comments to trickle in. This one right here caused some traction. That has 30,000 views. This one has almost 4,000.
Cute cat is
Posted in September. Didn't get comments until February of 2024.
going extinct.
That's when it popped off.
This is a
This
miniature.
one, it took until November, and who knows how long it took for those likes, because none of these videos had anywhere near that 2 years ago. Like, this was the first video. Well, actually, this is the first.
You guess what cat is born without a tail? You'd be right if you guessed the mink.
Dude, the editing is so bad. The editing is so bad. I always hated editing. Like, I would get in a flow state doing it, but I just hated getting into it. I'd be really committed to finishing the edit and trying to do it to the best of my ability. But as you can see, my abilities aren't that great.
Minks.
Like, you hear that shitty audio? It's like a fucking boomer putting together a PowerPoint.
But wait, not all minks are tailless.
Wow.
It's so bad.
So why do some minks have tails
Dude, it's so bad. It's like when I see these boomers make YouTube videos now. That's the kind of editing I was doing. Holy shit.
and others don't?
Oh my gosh. That's why nobody hired me to be a video editor except for my buddy over here. He didn't hire me. I'm doing it for free, but I offered that. I told him I could do it. I didn't say it'd be like really, really good, but now I'm not doing it. So thank God for Descript. I don't know how much I pay a month, but I pay a monthly fee for it. And I'm glad I do. Because you see my awful skills. Dude, these aren't that great, but that's kind of funny. Guys, I don't even like cats. I just said this cat is awesome. That's why that channel was never going anywhere, because it was a little disingenuous on my behalf. I was doing it for the ticks. Critics. See, it's not that great. But to be fair, the edit style was different 2 years ago as well. I don't know if my edits were necessarily that bad. They're bad. All right, they're just fucking bad. All right. Dude, the delivery is not that great either. I mean, it's not horrible, but that's another reason why I didn't do so well. The edits weren't that great. The script writing wasn't that great. The inflections in the voice weren't that great. The voice overall, the tonality wasn't that great. But I feel like but to be fair, like the edits aren't that great. But the editing style was different 2 years ago, 100%. like there were certainly more people using that kind of like putting in like another text, like another clip where they're actually talking. I feel like I saw that a lot back then. I could be wrong. Dude, that wasn't that bad. Let me see. Cardi. Dude, this is hilarious. So you want to know why I don't wear glasses anymore? Oh, damn, you guys aren't seeing any of this shit. I'm a bad stream host. You saw none of those videos, but you heard them.
You guess what cat is born without a tail? But wait, not all tailless minks are a You guess. This is why cats are terrified of cucumbers. According to the experts, it can be a couple things. You won't believe what house cats and tigers share. A whopping 90. Cats are better than basketball players at this one thing. Jumping.
What? What?
This cat is more expensive than a BMW. You'll need at least $125,000 to buy one. But there's something.
You know, it took time finding those fucking clips for the cats too, like doing those weird things.
Very unique about this.
It wasn't as easy as just literally typing on Google VO3 now. Give me a video of a cat dunking. Like, God, you know, it's crazy.
The Royal Ashera is a designer cat. You can tell those scientists watched Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the tallest cat in the world, and he has the plaque to prove it. His name is Fenner, and he stands just shy of 19 inches. But wait, there's more. His brother Arcturus is actually the tallest cat ever.
What? Did we just become best?
So, yeah, I mean, that video got 1,300. This got 30,000. I got 15, 39, 33. And it all took a long time for them to actually pop. So, yeah, that's a big lesson there. I don't have a lot of followers. I wasn't really obviously active on it. And all the followers came later, and they saw that I wasn't posting. Anyway, so funny story. The reason I don't wear glasses anymore is because I broke them one day intentionally. I was sitting at my desk. My desk was somewhere over here. I was staring out my window, which is right there. This is before we moved to Arizona. And not right before, but before. I was staring out my window, and I was just going through a pretty hard time because, I had discovered that a good friend of mine stabbed me in the back, stole half my clients after I trained him on how to do everything. Long story there. Boom. right in the bag. Took all my clients. I was still, there's a whole story there. But anyway, boom, stabbed me in the back. And I then had, I had turned down to work with this big account in an area, and like a 5-figure account monthly. And this is for the commercial cleaning company. And I was shooting myself in the foot for doing that because I didn't think we'd have the manpower. I didn't trust in myself enough. Him and I stopped working together. He took half my clients, therefore taking half my revenue, which hurt, and both emotionally and financially. And I just had this like shift in identity moment where I was thinking, I don't want to be this fucking guy who wears glasses anymore. I had an older cousin. I have one. He used to wear glasses when we were kids, and he just stopped wearing them when we were kids, and he's never worn them ever since. And he's never had any issues with his eyes. Has okay eyesight. So I thought back to that, and I also thought back to some of the other things that I had listened to, that glasses actually cause your eyes over time to atrophy. So your eye is kind of like a muscle. I'll show it to you. And by wearing glasses all the time, it actually hurts your eyes more than it helps them. And I noticed that my eyes felt like they were weak, not like they couldn't see far, but the way I would describe it is they felt weak. And it took me a couple days really to begin to notice a difference, not get used to the sensation, but rather feel them. I don't know how to describe it other than it felt stronger. And then my vision became clearer, and I actually had to go and get my eyes tested for my driver's license because I was my license had expired, and I had to go into the fucking eye doctor. So I went to the eye doctor because I was going to get glasses again, but I wanted them to just look everything over, and then I had them measure my eyes, and my eyes were like, let me see what they were. I just want to make sure I can say this right. It was like let's see. I think it was like, so right here, I think this is what I was. So I went back into the doctors having very low vision. And I think it was like, hang on, because I don't think it was that. It was like, I just got to type out I got to see the numbers. Let me just see the vision acuity. Ratings. Okay. Let's see. A person can see 20 feet. This is where I was at. I was at 2025. A person with 2025 vision can see clearly at 20 feet what someone with normal vision can see at 25 feet. This is a slight reduction in visual acuity. And this has been after a month of me not wearing glasses. When before, I was typically around 2070, 2040. Like in that range. And after a month of wearing glasses, I went up to 20 to 25 because I have been wearing glasses ever since I've been like 3 or 4 years old. Wild. All the way up until I was 28. Or contacts, right? And so anyway, I broke my glasses as like this identity shift. And I had a couple other reasons why, but it was just this kind of breaking moment. I don't really want to say identity shift. This is like fucking some weird fucking mental health issue I'm talking about. It sounds like it's not an identity shift. That's not the right way to frame it because I'm not fucking mentally unstable. So it was more like almost like a moment of becoming more of a man, right? Like just being fed up with everything and like everything you had been doing up until that point, right? And you're like, I just need to leave all these things behind. And so that's what I did. And yeah, that's why I no longer wear glasses. But now let's see, like, watch. Does wearing glasses weaken your eye? It does. I looked this up. Weaken your eyes. Yes, it does. This is not telling you the truth. Give me a second. Now they're saying it doesn't. And I know what you're thinking. I'm looking for something that supports my view. But I'm telling you, you got to be careful at what you take on face value here. All right, let me do something real quick. Are eyes a muscle? Okay. I'm retarded. Let's see. No, see, both of your eyes have 6 muscles that control movement. Yeah. And now, let's see here. Let's okay, so now you got to use your fucking brain here, all right? You can't just take what it says at face value. So, good way of thinking about this. Now it's saying that it doesn't, that it's not a muscle, but eye movement is controlled by muscles. And they also have an effect on how you see. Let me see something. And also, you got to be careful. This is AI shit here. It could be hallucinating. See, they play a crucial role in supporting and enhancing your vision. This is why you got to do your own research. They're a key part of how vision works. Okay, so what causes low visual acuity? So refractive errors like nearsighted, farsightedness, and astigmatism, which is what I had. I may still have it. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. Well, that's what they said I had. As well as age-related macular degeneration, cataracts, and glaucoma. Yeah, but what causes those? Uncorrected refractive errors. Okay, so what causes a uncorrected refracted error? When the eyeball grows or reduces in length, when the cornea changes shape, or simply with age. So this is very complicated stuff. Shape of cornea, your lens, or whole eye. Are there other? All right. So now this is where ChatGPT might be useful. You are an expert. Let's see what an eye doctor is. What's an eye doctor? An eye. Research specialist. What causes visual acuity? Yep, there we go. I was going to look up what the proper word is, but it doesn't matter. But I will just out of my own curiosity. Visual is for visual acuity. And then we're going to also test out Gemini QT. The eyes have 6 muscles connected to it. They are crucial to the eye's actual movement. They also play a role in overall sight. Now, is the role they play just from a movement side, or does it actually affect the visual imaging created by our eyes through light? Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Got it. Now, continue this one. Thinking, approaching this from the perspective of eye. Specialist who focuses on causes poor visual acuity? What causes refraction error in eyes? Effective in eye restriction visual acuity. My wife just sent me this from the Akron Beacon Journal. What is No King's Day? Why are people protesting on June 14th? Here's what to know. We'll take a quick detour real quick. All right? Because I know I'm getting caught in the weeds here. I'm going to read it from the Akron Beacon. That's where my wife sent it from. So I want to see what she read. That's not it. Yeah, it is. They must have changed the title. Oh, right here. I know. Here it is. All right. So, what is No King's Day? This is an article my wife just texted to me. You know, that's why she sent it, because it's in our neck of the woods. We live here. Akron is super close. Hudson's super close. Kent is super close. It's organizing. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Let's make a King's Day, baby. Let's see what I got popping on this Facebook. I got some loving of the stories. Look at that. Look at that. Dope. Dope. All right. Out of there. So let's see. What causes the core refractive errors on there? And their causes. Eye is too long. Eye is too short. Lens has an irregular curvature shaped more like a football than a sphere. All right, I know I had this. Let's see what causes this. What causes this? Yeah, but what causes it? Genetics, there we go. Yeah. Okay. So this would be one I think of. What nationalities are most likely to have this? That makes sense. Oh, fuck, my dad. Fuck. It's okay. I love you, Dad. Damn, dog. That's what happened. That's what happened. My mom over here, boom. And then my dad over here, boom. Damn, son. Damn, son. Yeah, let's see a study. Yes. You know, I've been using Gemini a lot more lately. I'm just using ChatGPT right now, but Gemini is my go-to for a lot. Mostly writing. Yeah. Wow. But this is in LA. What about biracial? So this is one study. Let's see other studies. I think it provided other studies. I thought it did. I don't know. We'll just roll with it. So I'm not saying that makes it true, but it's there's data at least. Dang. Okay. So, um, Okay. See, this is what the fuck I tried to look for last time and it didn't pull it up. So, all right, I gotta check this portion out. Okay, so let's see. How do the eye focus specifically? All right, let me see. Let's look this up. So there's a muscle right here. Okay. So the muscle flexing. I mean, if that's what? All right, let me just start reading all this for you. So the ciliary muscle contracts. This muscle forms a ring around the lens. When you focus on something up close, the ciliary muscle contracts. Tension in zonulars fibers, suspensory ligaments reduces. These fibers normally pull on the lens to keep it flat. When the muscle contracts, it releases this tension. Lens become rounder, more convex, with less tension pulling it flat. The lens naturally bulges due to its elasticity. The rounder lens has more optical power, it bends light more. Light from near objects is focused properly on the retina. Without this change, the light would focus behind the retina. Okay. The lens stiffens over time, even though, so it helps the eye focus. So, how would glasses assist in this case? You see that shit, guys? You see that shit? So, my whole got to do your own research, got to think for yourself, got to put the shit together, all right? There's a whole fucking industry behind glasses. Remember that. External substitute for the lens's natural focusing power. And right here, we just went over how the eye focuses. And it's through this diagram here. There's a muscle. Here's a good picture. Very good visual. There's a muscle right here, a muscle. that controls the focus. Remember that. A muscle that is not necessarily controls it, but really assists it. And it has an effect on these fibers, which causes greater tension on the focus or lesser tension on the focus by how this muscle is at that point, whether it's relaxed or contracted. That's going to determine your level of focus and the amount of light that you're going to receive and how it's going to be presented and how you view this shit, you know, in your mind's eye or however the fuck vision actually works. It's very fascinating. But anyway, so that's what this explains here. We just went over that. If you didn't see, I literally sat here for a while reading it myself and figured, oh yeah, I need to make this entertaining for you guys that I can maybe reclip it or whatever. But yeah, boom, you see that. Now, we go to here and it says that the glasses are an external substitute for the lens's natural focusing power. Okay. Like, if you're not seeing it yet, the lenses become stiff. It can change shape to focus on near objects. Near vision glasses add extra focusing power to the eyes. These lenses pre-bend light rays, mimicking what a younger flexible lens would do. You see that? That means that like either the muscle itself is damaged, it's been weakened, and so, but anyway, so now we have enough to then ask this question, which is this right here. If that is true, does that mean the ciliary muscle doesn't have to work as hard Boom, it says right here, yes. When wearing reading glasses or lenses that correct for near vision, the ciliary muscle doesn't have to work as hard or at all to focus up close. Glasses don't make the ciliary muscle weaker or lazy, they just reduce its workload because the internal focusing system is either aging or overwhelmed. Now I guess you'd have to all right, let me think here. Or at all. No, so hang on. So reading glasses are like an optical escalator for your eye muscles. So this is the analogy it gave for a leg muscle. I asked it, all right, so if yes, functionally it doesn't need to engage during near task when you're using the correct reading glasses. The reason, to fill everybody in, just in case we're unclear here, the reason I am looking into this is because your eyes have muscles. Yes, your eye itself is an organ. There are muscles that help the eye focus, bring in vision, movement. And we've had to dig to find that actually there are muscles that have a direct effect on your vision, not just your movement. That's the first thing. That was hard to find. Then you type in cause atrophy of the eye. Everywhere it says it's no. Even ChatGPT, which is what we're going through here, this line of thinking with it, that is, okay, so the eyes function in this way, the muscles function in this way. What are the roles of the muscles? And then you get to the second rung of the systems that it uses. We'll go back up here real quick, and I'll show you really, really quickly that there are two tiers that the eye muscles use or actually contribute to an overall eye functionality. So once we go down here, we can see that the eyes, let's see, so we got this. All right, so horizontal, your retina, why movement matters for sight. So your retina is where high acuity vision happens. So right there, if your eye muscles don't aim both correctly, obviously, there's misalignment. No, the muscles don't shape how light bends. It's refracted. That is handled by the cornea and the lens, which maybe I'm missing some connections here, but either way, which I'm totally open to. Then we started looking into this right here because that's what I have. Because I broke my glasses. I broke my glasses intentionally, and I think I fixed my eyes just by not wearing glasses. And I think that I've heard along the way that, you know, eyes have muscles and they atrophy over time with glasses. And I'm pretty sure I read something about that as well from official people. Nonetheless, we're doing research here, and so we're finding that, okay, a lot of this shit is saying, no, it's not true. It's not true that eyes, you know, ruin this. But what we do see is that glasses correct how light is bent. And the way that they can correct how light is bent is through these muscles. They need the muscles. So the muscles have a direct role in the vision and how the refraction can occur inside the eyeballs. That's just how the light is entered in to your eyes. Think of the prism or whatever from fucking Pink Floyd. So extracurricular muscle movement, circular, extraocular. I don't know why I said extracurricular. That's so fucking my brain, dog, my brain. Control where your eyes point. These do not atrophy for wearing glasses since they're still used consistently for tracking saccades. I'm not sure what that word means. These muscles aren't involved in correcting astigmatism, and again, glasses don't replace these. So they say glasses assist this, right? But anyway, so it helps the eye focus on near objects. Cool. So this is what we're looking into now, which is what brought us over here. So you can see that this muscle has a direct effect on how the actual eyeball, the pupil, whatever that part is called, that takes in the light, is formed, the shape of it. And the shape is what causes the refraction error, the shape of your eyeballs, the shape of different parts of your eyeballs. Okay? So I go back here. So I then asked it, okay, so if it helps the eye focus by changing the shape of the lens, how do they help the eye focus specifically? Then it goes into what it actually does, and it breaks it down, which then shows us over here. It tells you exactly like, hey, these fibers, they tense up or they loosen up depending on how this muscle is, what it's doing. Is it relaxed or contracted? So the engagement of the muscle will determine that. So the muscle has a crucial role on the direct effect on the intake of eyes, because it's causing the shape. And we've already seen that the shape is a primary reason for refraction error, which is just how light is intaken through the eyes. So we go on from here. So how would glasses assist in this case? That's the next thing I asked. As we age, the lens becomes stiff. It can't change shape to focus on near objects, even though the ciliary muscle is still working. This is called presbyopia. So near vision glasses add extra focusing power to the eye. These lenses pre-bend, reducing the workload off of the ciliary muscle, whatever the fuck it's called, reduces the workload of it, or, as you'll find out later, doesn't require the work of it at all to pre-bend the light rays, and it keeps going. So it focuses on the retina, not behind it. Okay? And then it still wants the glasses don't restore the muscle or lens elasticity. They provide the optical correction outside of the eye, giving the retina a primary focusing image without requiring the lens to change shape. So the muscle is not working properly to change the shape, which is causing the issue. Okay? Glasses do not restore the muscle. They are a substitute for the muscle. Then I asked it, these lenses pre-bend light rays, mimicking what a younger flexible lens would do. If that's true, does that mean the ciliary muscle doesn't have to work as hard? Excellent insight. Thank you, ChatGPT. I'm a smart boy. And yes, we're thinking like a vision scientist now. Call me a scientist. I'm thinking like a scientist, y'all. So just remember that. When you come talk to me, just know ChatGPT says that I'm thinking like a vision scientist. I've only been studying vision for like 2 minutes. Yes, when you're wearing reading glasses or lenses that correct the near vision, the ciliary muscle doesn't have to work as hard or at all. If muscles don't work at all, you know what happens? Atrophy. Atrophy. Say it with me. Atrophy. Let's just look it up. Does atrophy happen when muscles aren't used? I'm retarded. No, atrophy does not happen when muscles are used. Oh, aren't used. Still retarded. Yes, muscle atrophies. The wasting or loss of muscle mass can occur when muscles aren't used or are not stimulated adequately. Let's go back here, please. What happens to that muscle, boys? What happens to this muscle here? This muscle. There's a muscle in the eye. It controls this. Okay? Show you another image. There you go. Look at that. Different. That one I don't think is as good as the other ones. But here's another one for you. Oh, you know what muscle plays a role in both of these? That muscle. That muscle. This muscle. Say it with me, the muscle. The muscle. Okay. And we go back here. And we see this. Oh, or at all. This muscle might not have to do any work at all with glasses. Let me just give you this muscle right here. This muscle right here doesn't have to do any work with glasses because the glasses pre-bend this light, dog. Remember that. It pre-bends it. It pre-bends it, reducing the workload, causing it to work less or not at all. Right here, or not at all. Okay? So now we go back here. We know it's a muscle that controls that, right? Dope. Awesome. We're on the same page. We're in agreement. It's amazing. Does not using muscles cause atrophy, or whatever the hell you spell it. Let's see here. No. Get away from me. Yes, not using muscles enough can cause atrophy. Enough. It doesn't even say not at all. Enough. And we know this muscle here, just so we're all clear, that muscle there does this right here, does this right here. So this muscle does this. This muscle right here, this muscle, it does this. But with glasses, guess what? It won't work as hard. And what we just saw is that muscle atrophy happens when the muscle's not being used enough. And certainly if it's not being used at all. We continue. But you said yes. When you're wearing reading glasses or lenses that correct for near vision, the ciliary muscle doesn't have to work as hard or at all to focus close up. And it's telling me I'm right to press on this. It wants to clarify and explain its position. Explain your position. I'm open to being wrong. Completely. But right now, the math ain't math. Yes, functionally, it doesn't need to engage during near task when you're using the correct reading glasses. The powered lenses and reading glasses handle the light bending job that the ciliary muscle plus lens combo would normally do. So your brain doesn't need to trigger accommodations. So your brain realizes it doesn't need to use that muscle anymore because there's something else that's making it easier to be done. Now, granted, it's a tool. It helps vision. But we should not be doing constant upsells of glasses because it will actually cause atrophy in all habits. And then even worsen your vision. Like all of these prescriptions are to keep you. It's just another fancy way of saying subscription. Prescription, subscription, monthly fees. Hopefully you never leave. We got an LTV, dog. We ain't really trying to help you all the way. Like we'll help you a little, but we got to keep making our money, and we also need to keep our LTV up. You know, if you buy glasses from 4 to 30 years, we just had a customer pretty much their entire life. We're getting customers at birth. And now you're telling me that people think glasses cause muscle atrophy? You idiot. The eyeball's an organ. I mean, it has muscles, but it's an organ. And those muscles play a crucial role to how that organ functions properly, like how it can intake light and therefore enhance or decrease its nearsightedness or farsightedness in terms of vision. All right. So let's keep on going. So I was like, all right, cool. So you told me all this stuff, right? So give me an analogy, a comparable analogy to a muscle in your leg. And the analogy it gave was your quadriceps, the muscle that straightens your leg when you climb stairs. Your quads must contract to lift your body up each step. Similarly, when you're looking at something up close without reading glasses, your ciliary muscle contracts to focus. Granted, I will say this, there could be hallucinations in the information it's given me. I'm taking it at face value right now. So if anybody can show me otherwise, please do so. But anyway, okay. So what happens if the quad was weakened to the point the person needed crutches to walk? Would that be a fair analogy to eyes? Right on this. What happened? Give me a second. What just happened? Hey, what was that? Oh. Why it's not the same? No, it's not a fair analogy to equate wearing reading glasses to a person needing crutches due to. All right, let's see why it's not the same. Muscle atrophy like a quad. If you're using them due to injury, the muscle atrophy shrinks, weakens, loses strength. Over time, you may need crutches because the muscle can no longer support your weight. Function is lost due to disuse and deterioration. It's not caused by muscle weakness. Can still contract normally. The problem is that the lens itself stiffens and won't respond to the muscle's effort. Okay, cool. All right. Cool. I thought I had something. I don't. What causes the unresponsive? That's cool, but now I want to see how this works. Okay. So here's what happens. The lens. So the root cause here isn't so much the muscle. It's the unresponsiveness of the lens. And the muscle is not a reason why the lens is unresponsive. They say that it's over time due to structural and biochemical changes, not due to nerve, blood flow, or muscular failure. Here's a breakdown: protein hardening, lens sclerosis or scoliosis. I don't know. The lens is made of crystalline proteins arranged in transparent layers. With age, these proteins cross-link and compact, making the lens stiffer and denser. Think of it like leather drying out and becoming rigid. Okay. Loss of elasticity. So outer membrane and fibers lose elasticity. So when the ciliary muscle contracts and releases tension on the zonals, the lenses don't bounce back into a round shape like it did when it was younger. Accumulation of UV oxidative damage. UV light and oxidative stress damages the lens tissue, reducing metabolic activities. Okay. So So what causes this? So UV radiation. Sugar molecules bind to proteins in a process called non-enzymatic glycogen, like in diabetes. So how does that happen? Boost levels of protective enzymes. So collagen degradation, the lens capsule, a collagen-rich membrane, becomes thicker and less elastic with age. New lens fibers are added throughout life, pushing older ones toward the center. These central fibers become compressed and densely compact. Calcium buildup. Okay. Yeah, what causes all of these? Yeah, that's all I wanted the whole time was the fundamental fucking issue here. What ultimately causes pro-hardening? Okay, yep. Let's see. The 5 fundamental root causes: chronological aging, time itself. Lens cells are never shed. You're born with all the lens cells you'll ever have. Over the decades, proteins accumulate damage, and new layers of lens fibers are added without removing the old ones. This creates compaction in central lens sclerosis. How the fuck do you say that word? Aging equals inevitable accumulation of micro damage with no regeneration in the lens. 2, UV radiation exposure. UVA and UVB penetrate the eyes and denature proteins. I don't know what that means. Give me a second. I'll look it up. Meaning, the process of altering the 3-dimensional structure of protein, thereby disrupting its function. So heat, pH changes. So denaturing results in the loss of protein's native structure, which is essential for its biological activity. Protein becomes unfolded and may lose its solubility, stability, and ability to perform its intended functions. For example, when an egg is cooked, the heat denatures the proteins in the egg white, causing it to solidify. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So UV exposure. Let's get clear on this. Let's see. So includes sunlight, tanning beds, and specific type of lights. Sunlight, tanning bed, black lights, UV LEDs. Black lights and some wood lamps. Other sources. Wow. Okay. Yeah, come on. Give me it all, baby. Give me it all. Big computers, TVs, smartphones. produce UVs. That's not what I asked. Just answer yes or no if they produce UV at all. I don't care if it's enough to hurt anyone, but rather do they produce any at all? And if so, what level are they producing them at? Okay, so they meant blue light. So blue light in eyes, exposure to blue light, particularly from digital devices, can have several effects on the eyes and overall health. These effects can both be temporary and potentially long-term. Digital eye strain, prolonged screen time, and the unique properties of blue light can lead to digital light strain. So dry eyes, blurry eyes, eye fatigue, headaches, light sensitivity, eye irritation, and soreness, retina damage, sleep distortion, effect on lenses. Okay. So our devices don't necessarily have them, but they produce something else through the filtration process used in these devices allegedly that creates blue light. And blue light can have some negative effects when you reach a lot of exposure. All right. So let's keep going. High carb diet, diabetes, chronic inflammation, stiffness, opacity, reduced lens flexibility. This is a whole rabbit hole here. I don't know. Whatever. Do what you want. Wear your glasses. Don't wear your glasses. This right here, been doing this for years, baby, for years. I bet you I can't find this, though. Let's see. Nah. It ain't there no more. Let's see. Yeah, this is actually it right here, and this is the fucker who stole my shit, dog. He stole from me. Yeah, I built this up. He took all my videos off. I did a podcast with this guy. Did a podcast with her. Actually, her and I debated on this podcast. I won. Let's see. There I am. There I am. This video actually, when it was first posted, got over 1 million views.
Breaking.
Yeah, this used to be MOT, and then I gave it to him. We made money from this. Well, let's see, like 11K, 38K. $16, $12.
Breaking news.
$33, $14, $28, $23, $53, $10. $78, $215, $19, $28, $32, $103, $211, $34, $23. So I think he had, yeah. That was mine too, 15K. But this video, surprisingly, it didn't do well when he reposted it, but this video on the original channel,
the head of BlackRock has said the New World Order has failed.
Had over 1 million views. I mean, you see that? But that had over 1 million views. Let me see something. Then we even had a sports channel. And this, I had nothing to do with the sports channel. Nothing. I think I made a couple videos. The rest was all on them. You see the huge difference, right? The other one, I was doing all the fucking lifting. This is another channel from MOT that he took. I built it up. He deleted all the videos. Could see all these people I followed because I was trying to grow it, and I was doing it fast because we kept getting banned. So I had to keep making other accounts. Anyway, that's that. Enough to be memory lane. Let's go back to this. Let's see how this turned out. Going back to the video I was working on with AI. This is AI related, so let's get to it.
Don't let me die here.
That's their name picture.
Don't let me die here. I profusely pleaded as I laid there on the corner of 4th and Market in Old City, Philadelphia.
Ooh, I have an idea, actually. We're going to put some effort into this, so let's go. I'm going to pull up his Addy. This is what I want right here. And, this is the guy. Amazing story. Well, let's go. I wish we can get that clearer, but that's okay. So I'll take this, cancel, get out of here to hold. Do this. Hang on, this is not what I want. Picture. All right, well, let's go back here. All right, so it said it needed an image. So let's remove that. Let's, how do I add an image into here? Oh, I wonder if I do this. Can I just go? No? Okay. Let's put an element in here. Media. Media. Here. Pictures. Let's see. That should be it. Right? Yeah. There he is. Boom. All right. So let's just stretch this out a little bit. All right. Let's see how that works.
Don't let me die here. Don't let me die here. I profusely pleaded as I laid there on the corner.
Okay, let's go back here. We need the captions back. Give me those motherfucking captions. All right, let's play it back.
Don't let me die here. Don't let me die here.
All right, then we also got to go back here. Studio sound. No, we don't want it all the way. We want it like 50. Yeah, all right, let's roll it back.
Don't let me die here. Don't let me die here.
We need to do more. Let's do 80.
Don't let me die here. Don't let me die here.
No. All right, let's do 65.
Don't let me die here. Don't let me die here. I profusely pleaded as I laid there on the corner of 14th Market in Old City, Philadelphia. I was just shot 6 times. It was January 7th, 2010. I was 23 years old. And I still had so much life left in me. It all started with an argument my best friend was having with another guy at the bars let out at 2 a.m. I laid there, my body on fire. I looked down at my shirt. It was soaked in blood. And at that moment, I realized I was unable to move my legs. Later, in the days that followed, I would learn that I had a bullet lodged in my spinal nerves. And because of that night, my life would change forever. I would go on to spend over 100 days in the hospital. I would endure more than 20 surgeries, and then another grueling 8 weeks in the rehabilitation facility. I had to relearn how to do everything. I had to relearn how to get dressed, how to stand up, and then eventually I'd have to learn how to walk. It was a daily battle. Physically, yeah, but even more so mentally. I was alone in that hospital bed, day in and day out, night after night. And all I had was time to think, time to reflect, and time to observe. I saw people break under the pressure of their injuries. I saw others fight like hell to recover. And I saw the differences between the two. And I saw what helped people get through. At the rehab, they constantly talked about this new normal, because that's what it was going to be. And unfortunately, none of us were ever going to have the same life that we once had. After nearly 6 months in the hospital and in the rehab facility, I was deemed healthy and they were going to discharge me. This brought up a new challenge. I had to learn how to live on my own again. Just me. No doctors, no nurses, no scheduled rehab. It was just me. As I continued to, I still struggled. Simple things like walking across a room, getting out of bed in the morning, even just making a meal for myself. It was all difficult. But I was alive, could stand, and I was grateful. As I continued to heal, one question kept on coming up in my mind. Why did I survive? You see, the odds were not in my favor. The distance I was shot from, with one bullet, typically takes a 88% fatality rate. I had been shot 6 times. That question kept on going through my head. Why was I alive? What was my purpose? In Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, he writes, everyone has his own specific vocation or mission. Everyone also has their own specific opportunity to implement it. And that idea became my anchor. I've had only one guiding light since then, and that was to help people who have suffered, people who feel lost, and people who need hope. That mission has taken me to many places. I've helped and mentored many student athletes, worked with countless sales teams, and helped people navigate their own life-changing events. But I want to do more. I want to reach more people. I want to help more people. And the truth is, I still struggle. I still carry the weight of the events of that night, both physically and mentally. But I know one thing for sure. I feel most alive when I'm in the service of others. And that's why I'm here. To get better at sharing my story.
All right, so that's good. So we're going to export that one. Dope. We got that rolling. Let's do edit video. Dope. Cool. So that's exporting. Now let's go back here. What kind of clips do we have? Let's see the clips.
Later, in the days that followed, I would learn that I had a bullet lodged in my spinal nerves. And because of that night, my life would change forever. I would go on to spend over 100 days in the hospital.
Yeah, these are good. So let me export these as well. Dope. I think he's going to be happy. You know, it's not like extravagance or anything, but I told him I would do it and I need to do it. And I've been putting it off because I had so many other things that I had to do. But he reached out to me again today and I have to do it. It's been a minute. He sent it to me a while ago, and I feel bad for not getting it done sooner. But yeah, I think that it's okay. I think he will be happy with it. I think that they will do well just because of the story. I mean, the story is good, right?
I feel most alive when I'm in the service of others.
So we'll let that finish loading up. While that's loading up, we'll switch over here. We're switching tunes, baby. We're switching tunes. We're going to go back and now see what's going on. And that was all, by the way, guys. Hey, this, all AI. This is AI editing. I'm showing you how to use it on the fly. Showing you that stuff. And then I'm showing you some ChatGPT research shit, schooling me, thinking I'm a smart guy. I'm not a smart guy. It smacked me down. So now let's go. Continue on. How LinkedIn built their first AI agent for hiring. Let's check it out.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. This is my talk, Agents at Scale Using LangGraph. And today I'd like to focus on thinking about scale in two different ways. The first kind of scale, I think we're all familiar with. As engineers, product builders, there's a sense of scale in which we want to make sure our services, our apps are able to process tons of data and it's performant. The second kind of scale, I think, is a little bit more subtle. And what I'd like to focus a lot on in this presentation is how can we scale the amount of the level of agentic adoption within our organizations and kind of make sure that everyone can generate the best ideas. So without further ado, let's get started.
I have noticed, side note, that there are a lot of recruiters who are in the AI space because a lot of what they do can be automated. And if they can learn, not necessarily automated, but assisted through AI augmentation as opposed to replacement, job descriptions, interviewing questions, SOPs, like job roles, like how the systematizing aspect of the role of HR, which is hiring and recruiting, can be a good way to break into implementing an AI workflow or an AI agent.
I'd like to start by showcasing LinkedIn's first ever production agent. We built an agent called LinkedIn Hiring Assistant, and it's an agent that's specifically designed to help recruiters automate various parts of their process, and really to let them spend more time having meaningful conversations with candidates. So I'm going to play a video. It's going to go quite fast, but I promise I'll break it down step by step right after it finishes playing. The key thing here that...
Yeah, and I think as we're seeing this play out, a ton of people might get scared because they're like, well, that's doing my job. No. It's like the software that came out for accountants. It did not take their job, right? They just now use it better than we could. Okay, there's, what's it called? That tax thing. The one that you get the fucking disk for, you put it into your computer or whatever. I can't think of the name of it. But you can basically do your taxes on your own with this software. But if your taxes get too complicated, you can't. And even if they're not complicated, you have to trust that you're inputting the right information and you're just hoping the software in which you're using is accurate or the platform you're using is accurate. When if you had a person there, it would enhance the accuracy in a way, especially to catch errors on the AI's part, especially if they're really good at what they do.
I'd like to point out is precisely what we just saw. Again, I know it was fast. Precisely what we just saw where the agent does something in the background and after some period of time, lets the recruiter know, lets the user know that it's finished processing and can return some data. So like I said before, let's go through this step by step. So what highlighted here in the box is the recruiter starts off the process by describing the kind of job that they'd like to fill. In this case, they're looking for an experienced growth marketer, and they've attached various documents that kind of describe more about what the positions they're actually trying to fill. Next, the agent will automatically generate different qualifications based off of what the kind of recruiter or user initially inputted, but also based on the supplementary documents they provided. Next, the agent will take its time, let the recruiter know that, hey, I'm going to be working on this, and I'll come back to you after some period of time, until finally the recruiter gets notified that there are different candidates that they can review. And finally, if they click on that, they'll be taken to a detailed list view page where they can review the candidates that the agent has sourced. And so this really is, I think, if we look at kind of the different topics that have been discussed in Interrupt so far, this is really kind of following the ambient agent pattern that different speakers and companies have adopted. So under the hood, what this looks like is a pretty traditional supervisor multi-agent architecture, where there's a supervisor agent that coordinates between different sub-agents, and each sub-agent is allowed to interact with existing LinkedIn services, systems, via tool calling. As I'll share a bit more in this presentation.
See, user actions, supervisor agent, then you have other agents. So it's a multi-agent system that at the top of it needs a user.
It's not just tool calling. We have something called skills, but like I said, I'll get to that when we get to that. We over 20 teams use this framework, and I think the support generative AI product experiences on LinkedIn. And finally, if we kind of zoom out at an entire architecture, distributed architecture to specifically support agentic modes of communication. So let's it was really LinkedIn's first foray into generative AI. We saw that, hey, we're already using Java for non-generative AI use cases. Let's just use Java for Gen AI also. And some of you might be wincing. I can already anticipate that. So at that time, we built some really basic apps.
I don't know why people would be wincing at that. I don't know enough about coding.
They are just simple prompts with basic prompt engineering, little to no RAG, no conversational memory.
Yo, not sure what happened there. My internet cut out. Let's get back to it.
Back internally. And so we said, hey, let's make a bold bet. Let's use Python for the business logic, the engineering, the evals, and pretty much everything else that you would need to build a functional production application. And I would say we even took the next step further, which is let's build a framework and make it the default. And specifically make a framework so that teams don't have to guess about what's the right way to do things. Instead, they can use this framework and take out some of the guesswork for them. So let me talk about exactly that. What was the service framework that we ended up building? At high level, we use Python gRPC, and we use LangChain and LangGraph to model the core business logic. This isn't a talk about gRPC, so I won't go too much into detail why we chose gRPC, but at high level, I listed just some of the features here that we really appreciated, namely its built-in streaming support was really awesome. Binary serialization is a big performance boost, as well as just the native cross-language features, which, if you recall a couple slides earlier, we use a ton of languages, so having cross-language support was critical. So here I've built a sample React agent using our application framework. So as we see here, there's standard utilities for tool calling, highlighted in kind of the yellow there, standard utilities for large language model inference using our internal inferencing stack, standard utilities for conversation.
So you got you got the prompt engineering and evaluations as being super fundamental to what they do. Obviously, everything else is very important to improve it, but the prompt engineering and the evaluation don't mean anything. I mean, they're important, but they don't mean as much if you don't have the memory, if the interface isn't well, if the tool calling isn't well. Like those are like the real fundamentals.
Stational memory and checkpointing. And the key thing that I'd like to note here is that we use LangChain and LangGraph to tie all this stuff together. And really, LangChain and LangGraph form the core of each of our generative AI apps. So then this leads to the question of the hour is, why did we end up choosing LangChain and LangGraph over the sea of other kind of different alternatives to build and model our applications? The first thing I'd like to say is that it just plainly was really easy to use. And I'm sure everyone in this room would agree here that even what we saw was that Java engineers were able to pick it up really easily. Like if you look at the syntax, you can pretty easily identify what's happening in the kind of this most basic construct here. And furthermore, through various community integrations, just like the community FICE implementation or the React agent pre-built from the LangGraph official repo, we're able to build non-trivial apps in days down from weeks, which is, if you think about the number of teams that work on generative AI across the company, this is weeks, months of time being saved across the board. And the second thing that we really appreciated, and I think we've heard similar things from different speakers today, and that is the LangChain package and LangGraph package have really sensible interfaces. And so we're able to model our internal infrastructure using these interfaces. For example, if we look at this chat model interface here, LinkedIn uses Azure OpenAI, but also uses on-premise large language models as well. So teams, if they want to switch between model providers, they can do so with a couple lines of code, and that's that. So if we zoom out, recall this diagram here. Essentially what it describes is allows us to build one of these boxes. But then you might ask, how did we actually tie all these agents together? And so the two problems that we identified specifically with agentic setups was that, one, agents can take a lot of time to process data. This leads into the whole ambient agent idea where how can we model long-running asynchronous flows within our infrastructural stack? And second is agents can execute in parallel. And furthermore, the outputs of one agent might depend on the outputs of another agent. So how can we make sure that things are done in the right order? This leads me into the penultimate section of my talk here, which is the new infrastructure that we built, and I'll call it called our agent platform. So the first part of our solution was to model long-running asynchronous flows.
So look at that. Let's see. User, agent, sender. Okay. Messaging service goes into the database. Agent orchestrated service. Okay. Then it goes here, here, here. Nearline we'll talk. I'm not sure what that is. Then the user, agent, receiver, distributed memory.
We modeled this as precisely a messaging problem. And the reason why we chose messaging is because LinkedIn already has a really robust messaging service that serves countless members every day. And so we extended this to also include agentic forms of communication, namely agent-to-agent messaging, but also user-to-agent messaging as well. We even built some nice things so that there's like a nearline flow where if messages get failed, they'll be automatically picked up and retried via a queuing system. So then that covers how agents can talk to each other. They can send messages to one another, but this doesn't cover how agents can actually make sure that tasks are done in the right order. So the second part of this solution that we developed was to specifically build memory catered for agents. And so our agentic memory, you'll probably see.
Yeah, that's very interesting, is how you can make them work in parallel. They're basically doing two. So like I had a talk with Adam Leeper, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. I have a podcast coming out with him. You guys should check him out. I think it's like AI Adam something careers. It does really good stuff. We had a conversation about this, and this is kind of along those lines where we had talked about how humans can kind of pick up on like these subtleties in work. For example, there's a look that you give a coworker when something is said and you guys are both on the same page, or you are not just on the same page, but completely understand like the next task that each of you are going to accomplish with just a look, not even verbal exchange, but okay, cool. So I'm going to be doing this, you do this. So there's this kind of communication that takes place. It's hard to replicate, but to be fair, in a way, that's kind of similar to what's taking place here. Not entirely, just because you don't have that like non-tangible exchange that's been like mutual, saying, yeah, we know what we're doing, we're on the same page, but rather they're being trained to like, all right, cool. So we just have to make sure that these AIs are executing this while this executes this, and then this executes this, and then it's all working together in harmony. So it's kind of like the very beginning stages of something like that.
I think you've seen themes of this from people outside the booths as well, is that there's kind of different forms of memory that the agent should be able to access. For us, it's memory is both scoped and layered. So there's working memory, long-term memory, collective memory, and these each provide different functions that the agent can utilize to do the things that it needs to do. So for example, for a new interaction, you'll probably just fill out working memory. But over time, as an agent has more interactions with a particular user or something like that, then more memory will be populated to long-term memory over time. So now we've covered the arrows and the boxes. So how do agents actually do things? Well, this kind of leads to what I was talking before, where we've developed this notion of skills, which is like function calling in a lot of senses, but it deviates us from this notion in a couple of different ways. The first thing is that function calling is usually local to your box, but here skills can really be anything. It can be RPC calls, database queries, prompts, and more importantly, other agents. And the second thing that I'd like to emphasize here is the how. Specifically, we let agents invoke skills synchronously, but also asynchronously, which if we consider the different themes that we talked about, the asynchronicity part is absolutely critical. And I'd like to think that we did a good job with the design here because overall, this setup is pretty similar to MCP well before it was actually around.
Just sent the email. Just sent it out. Told them I get it done today. I got it done today. And then there's another automation that I have to do. Coincidentally, it's on LinkedIn. So with my biz coaches, talk to Derek. We want to build out something regarding LinkedIn, DMs, etc. So yeah.
So, and finally, we took this skill concept and made it centralized. And so we implemented a registry so team services could expose skills and register them in a central place so that then if an agent wants to access skills developed by another team, they can do so and discover these skills via this central registry. Let me walk you all through what a sample flow might look like. So in this case, the supervisor agent tells the sourcing agent that I need help searching for a mid-level engineer. The sourcing agent will contact the skill registry. The skill registry will respond with a skill that it thinks is a good fit for the task. And finally, the sourcing agent will execute this skill. And like I said before, this links to the core components that we've built too. So again, the emphasis being to make it really easy for agents to develop. And lastly, I could spend an entire hour on this topic, but we also built custom observability because agentic ways of execution require particular observability solutions. So to wrap up here, I'd like to cover two things. First is, I think a key emphasis that we've discovered over these past couple of years is to really invest in productivity. This space is moving incredibly fast. And if you want to make sure that you're kind of following the best practices, but also available to adapt to different conditions or changes in the product, you need to make sure that's really easy for developers to build. And so you can do this by standardizing patterns, making sure it's as easy for any developer to contribute as possible. And the second thing I'd like to emphasize is, at the end of the day, we're still building production software. You should still consider the usual things, availability, reliability, but also, again, observability is paramount. You can't fix what you can't observe. And really, to do this, you need robust evaluations with things that people have talked about already. You should account for non-deterministic workload. So that's all, and thank you.
That was good. So I'm definitely going to be saving this because I'll be doing an article for LinkedIn. I want to, all right, whatever. It'll be in my history. So I'll check that out here in a second. Cool. Give me a second. I'll be right back. I'm back. And I got a little bit of food and some water and my chewing tobacco. I'm like so ready to go. All right, so that was cool. That was cool. Sent this out to my boy. Let's get out of here for now. Let's get out of this one. Let's get out of this one. Let's go back to the YouTube. Let's see how these are. All right. They're not bad. Don't worry about what I'm eating. Worry about what you're eating. Let's see. Let's check this out.
We begin here with breaking news out of the Middle East. Dozens of people injured.
Yeah, turn the caption sign as I'm trying to slow the speed.
After Iran launched missiles at Israel.
This comes a day after Israel attacked Iran in an unprecedented show of force. And now the U.S. military is getting involved. Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Grande joining us live in studio with those new details right now. Carlos?
Well, that's right. Iran launching a second round of missiles toward Israel. This is in response after Israel struck Iran early Friday morning, knocking out some of its nuclear and military facilities. Iran says 78 people were killed. At least 5 people have been injured from the Iranian attacks on Israel. Sirens sounding across Israel as Iran launches an attack. A short time later, you could see explosions.
Yeah, I haven't been really keeping up with this, but I know we did a live stream the other day. Covered mostly politics, and we saw, like Nick Fuentes posting a video of Donald Trump saying the president's going to cause war with Iran, being ironic about what he said about Obama. And it's because of,
It's lighting up the sky over Tel Aviv.
Israel's
defense system, known as Iron Dome, knocking down Iranian missiles. Israel's military says dozens of missiles have been fired by Iran, and the explosions are from interceptions or crashes. Some missiles, however, are getting through. These images show one building on fire after it was hit. You can also see emergency services moving into the area surrounded by debris and charred vehicles. Earlier, Israel launched attacks on the heart of Iran's nuclear and military structure. It used warplanes and drones they say were previously smuggled into the country to attack key facilities. And
interestingly, I'll show you guys. I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. Actually, I'm just going to shut the fuck up and look it up first. Let's see. Ukraine admits missile transfer. Carrying nuclear warheads were transferred to from Ukraine to Iran and China in the past 5 years. When was this? This was a long time ago. 20 years ago. They're saying that they're supplying Russia. Iran supplying Russia. Counter-drone weapons diverted from Ukraine to Middle East. I don't know. That's a whole convoluted issue. But anyway.
To kill top generals and scientists. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says this was necessary before Iran got any closer to building an atomic weapon.
The Islamic regime, which has oppressed you for nearly 50 years, threatens to destroy my country, the State of Israel. The objective of Israel's military operation is to remove this threat, both the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat to Israel.
Among the key sites Israel attacked was Iran's main nuclear enrichment facility in Natanz. In addition, 3 of Iran's top military leaders were killed, including one who oversaw the entire armed forces. Iran confirmed the deaths. Officials in Washington stress the U.S. is not involved in the attack. One official does confirm the U.S. is assisting in shooting down missiles targeting Israel.
And the big concern is the potential for full-scale conflict in the region. President Trump, who for months is trying to broker a nuclear deal with Iran, warned Benjamin Netanyahu not to escalate the tension. I'm Carlos Granda, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, we'll see who he sides with, right? Probably gonna side with Israel. Let me just use my hands like a motherfucking man. I got my hand, baby. I got my hand. All right. All right. Let's see what else. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna eat a little bit more, and then we're gonna find a video. You know what the best feeling is? It's a horrible habit, but it's a good feeling. It's not the best feeling. That was an exaggeration of extreme magnitude. You're going to see why I'm saying that now, because that was a little extreme. Not the best, but it's a feeling I've grown to like, which is why I'm addicted, because I like the feeling. Throwing in a nice chew after a meal. It's a very satisfying thing. I don't know why. But yeah. Well, I say that to say this. I'm about to throw on the chew after this last bite. It's gonna be good. Okay, one more. 2 more. Great. Awesome. Delicious. Actually, wasn't bad. Yeah, the food from this restaurant was okay. Overpriced like hell. You know, we spent $130. Fucking ridiculous. But you know, it was a nice restaurant. Up class a little bit. Took the kids. They did well. They had very great service. Very attentive. What I just finished eating was part of our appetizer that I never brought out until an hour later. We were going to leave. And they also forgot to pack up our children's food. They said they were going to pack up our children's food. They didn't pack up our children's food. And well, we came home thinking that we were going to feed the children their leftovers for dinner. And they did not have their leftovers for dinner because they never bagged the food. But they gave us the loaded fries that they were supposed to give us before our meal. But anyway, food was good, but not worth that kind of money. Could have got the same meal around here for like $50, $40. So yeah, it was a racket money. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, that grizzly. I'm a grizzled man. Not really. Let's see. Let's see. You know who I like, and I think he gets too much flack, and I get why people give him flack, but I like Martin Shkreli, however the fuck you pronounce his last name. We hate agencies. Why we hate agencies? Let's see. Dang, this might be a channel I follow. They just interviewed the
10 years ago, I was.
That's wild. Let's see. Biggest podcast, I've never heard of it, but that doesn't mean anything. Just saying, wow, I didn't know it was so big. Is that Jonathan Haidt? Yeah, it is. He has a good book. A couple of good books, actually. Recommend you check them out. Just trying to figure out what I'm going to watch here. I say I got one viewer. What's up? What's up? Much love. Been going here for like 2.5 hours. Just trying to figure out what's next. We just watched a video on LinkedIn talking about their AI agent. Learned a lot of cool things. Some of the issues that they solved with multi-agent systems, how it functions, the tasks that it does. It was good. I don't know what to watch right now, honestly.
I'm not completely against anything, and I have not, and not for lack of trying, and I think not for lack of being informed or interested in the issue, found a way that I consistently use AI in my work.
This is a great channel, by the way, for anybody who's interested in writing.
Sometimes use it right now as a replacement for Google searches, and it's valuable for that. And deep research has been good on some kinds of preparatory work for me. It's very hard to not be outsourcing the part of the work I need to do the most. AI is better at the things I need to do than the things I don't need to do. And so having AI step in, which I will something to crunch if I don't have time to like make the spreadsheet myself and like gather the data in the way I'd like to gather it. But having AI summarize a book or a paper for me is a disaster. It has no idea what I really wanted to know. It would not have made the connections I would have made. And so
yeah, that's a good point. But you got to train the model. Like that's what I'm doing on LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn, those posts. are AI generated, but I have it prompted in a way that it's close enough to what my opinions would be of the article or the lecture or the study or the whatever that I am posting. But there are a lot of times where I have to go back and tweak it and say, no, I don't believe in this. No, I don't like this. No, this and this and this correction and that correction and this correction. But that takes off a big, heavy workload.
Is again to my stance on this as somebody who thinks it's the time I spent researching that was the most important time. Having AI do research for me is a bad idea. But if you had other people on the show, they'd give you something different. I think somebody like Tyler Cowen has made AI much more fundamental to his workflow than I have. But I'm interested for the thing I will see that other people would not have seen. And I think AI typically sees what everybody else would see. I guess
I tend to agree with that. I tend to agree with his point, which is why you have to, but like he even admitted right there that somebody else who's using it more fundamentally in their work has probably worked through it more and has it just working the way they want it to or close enough. And he hasn't put in that effort to do so because he liked it. And I get it. Hey, we got our habits.
I'm trying to figure out is like how much. So on one hand, I hear what you're saying with that is the most important part of my work. And I agree. I think that the years have proven that out. On the other hand, I wonder how much of it is like prompt issue of can you prompt it in distinct ways and in all of that. I think of AI almost like looking at the world through a kaleidoscope. And I agree that the default prompt gives you the way that everybody else is looking. But
that's assuming that I know what my prompt should be. There's no prompt that would have told me, just go read more books, man. You're not there. You haven't gone far enough.
That's a weak point. That's a weak point. The reason it's a weak point is because if you're going through and reading all of that research, you can tell it just that.
I'm not saying AI can't be useful. Not saying it won't be useful. But I think I'm pretty against shortcuts. And obviously you have to limit the amount of work you're doing. You can't read.
This guy is also very, very, very left-wing.
Literally everything. But in some ways, I think it's more dangerous to think you've read something that you haven't than to not read it at all. As somebody who knows the people at these labs and has like talked to them about how to use it and has access to the good models, it has not become an honored partner in my creative workflow.
And that's his preference. It's not because of the technology not being there, it's his preference. You can certainly put the effort into having the AI do what you want and do it precisely and save you an immense amount of time. But it takes time to get there.
Right. So then that seems like a pretty important fault line of there is your writing and you're like, it's not that useful. Then there is I'm doing research. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'll use a super concrete example. We're talking about homelessness as a housing issue. The kind of thing that is really great for AI. Like I haven't really thought about that. I grew up in San Francisco, so it's like very near and dear to my heart. Kind of watched the city get destroyed by homelessness. I would use AI to basically say, hey, O3, can you give me a list of how housing has changed over the years, list of papers that have been written. But what I'm hearing you say is, yeah, that's like a better Google. That's not, then there's something else of like, I want you to write this for me and that you wouldn't use.
Yeah. Also, I wrote a piece about this a couple years back. It was called Against the Matrix Theory of the Mind. And I think I used to conceptualize knowledge the way you see it in the movie The Matrix, where it's like, I wanted the port in the back of my mind that the little needle would go into. And then I had read John Rawls's Political Liberalism.
Right.
I thought that what you were doing was like downloading information into your brain. And now I think that what you are doing is spending time grappling with the text, making connections that will only happen through that process of grappling. And so the idea that you could speed run that, the idea that it could just be summarized for you, part of what is happening when you spend 7 hours reading a book is you spend 7 hours with your mind on this topic. the idea that O3 can summarize it for you, in addition to there's all this stuff you just will not have read, is that you didn't have the engagement. It doesn't impress itself upon you. It doesn't change you. What knowledge is supposed to do is change you. And it changes you because you make connections to it.
What you're saying is knowledge is more embodied.
Yes.
Than just looking up something on AI. And
he's right there. This is right. I agree with that point. I agree with that point entirely.
That because knowledge is embodied, it has a way of becoming a part of you and flowing through you into the writing.
Yeah, into the writing, into your thinking. Not very much that AI has given me has really, it doesn't change me very much. I think that the time you spend with things is pretty important. And a reason you get changed over time, I mean, I've been reading Matthew Iglesias for how many fucking years now, right? Since he was in college and I was in college. It is the length of that relationship I've had with his work that matters most. Any one piece.
See, that's true, but then the flip side to that is you then develop a bias towards that person because you like them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it could also skew your worldview and skew your perspective, and then the AI could also add in a different perspective in a coherent way that maybe you wouldn't have thought of either. But it's not necessarily a unique idea. It's just a perspective on that particular person that maybe you didn't think of, and that could shape your opinion differently.
Pieces,
and other sources that maybe you wouldn't have thought of.
That important. And when I sat down, I read a RAND report recently on housing construction costs in different states, in California and Texas and in Colorado. If I just had O3 spit that out, it would have been some useful factoids. It actually mattered that I spent more than an hour on the report, marking it up, like looking at I just think there's something about your process of grappling with something that is what makes it, that integrates it into the way your mind actually works. I think shortcuts often operate off of a misguided metaphor of how our minds work.
Right.
That again, we sort of have this download model. I'm downloading the information, and Sam Bankman-Fried is one of the many tech people I've seen who'd be like, what's the point of all these books? Shouldn't every book be a magazine article, and shouldn't every magazine article be a tweet? And the answer is no, it shouldn't be. In part because that actually isn't information. I could have for sure having written books. And then how much fidelity is lost to them when I do the excerpts, when I go talk about them on podcasts. But also because it cannot change you. A magazine article will change you less than a magazine article.
But to Sam Bankman-Fried's point, and so if you impactful in a shorter way, you're going to reach more people, potentially change more minds. But to be pithy and impactful is hard. And to Ezra's point, you're not going to get the depth of knowledge and insight from a tweet the same way you would an article or a book.
Well, you may not realize that at the time, but I think for most people, most of the time it's true. It's a reason, by the way, podcasting is powerful. Because when they spend 2 hours with you over and over and over again, it's like what changes you isn't the wave, it's the erosion.
Yeah, the way this is also very vivid in my life is travel, where if I go somewhere, somehow that place just becomes completely alive to me in a way that it wasn't before if I just read about it. And what I'm really taking from you here is actually what a book isn't just giving you a lot of information. It's giving you a container to think about a narrowly defined scope of ideas. And that part of reading the book is obviously downloading the information, but the other part is just the kind of rumination that happens in your brain in the process of consumption and just thinking about what it is that you're reading.
And that's true for a lot of things. I mean, travel is a good example. For me, and works like this. I had a trip to Israel West Bank a year ago, June. And I remember coming back, and that trip was really searing for me. It was one of the most emotionally intense reporting trips I've ever done, the most. And I come back and people saying, well, I would get the questions, and I was like, well, what did you learn that you didn't know? And in a way, the answer was almost nothing. But now I understood it, or at least understood it in a different way than I had before, not in the way the people I was talking to understood it. You can have epiphany through writing. I mean, I know writers always love the Joan Didion quote, I write to find out what I think.
Yeah.
But weirdly, I think you have to be careful with that, because sometimes writing is a process of persuading you of what the piece needs you to think. And you got to be careful not to become accidentally persuaded by, the formalism of whatever your own assignment is. I notice it when I'm doing a podcast. I don't feel a need to come to one best answer on something. And so I can hold a lot of different ideas in tension and end with them unresolved. And I often think that's a good intellectual place to be. When I'm writing, there's more of a need to chisel down to my one best argument. And in doing that, the person I always persuade the most is myself. Because I'm going through this whole background process of weighing things, discarding them. And I'm not saying that's not valuable. But sometimes I think afterwards, I over-persuaded myself. I talked myself more into something than I should have. I didn't leave enough doubt. I didn't, leave uncertainty. Instead,
yeah, I could help you with that.
Instead of believing 3 or 4 things might be true or all were making a reasonable point, I talked myself into the idea that one thing was true. It's not even that I think I was wrong. It's just I didn't leave room for the opposite. And sometimes you need to at least be holding things in tension to understand, very complicated currents in life. So yeah, you've always got to be, I think, a little careful with the way that writing, particularly if you haven't done enough and complex enough work behind it, will persuade you of a simpler reality than you should really believe.
Well, if you like that clip, I think you're going to like the full.
What's crazy? I see something from 3 weeks ago, and I think it's a little bit old. 2 months ago, ancient. And it's not. It's just so much is happening, and you got to stay relevant. You got to be posting all the fucking time. See, I knew somebody was going to do that.
And we just met. He tweeted at me that he watched one of my videos and kind of copied my method for building and selling apps and get a contract based off of vibe coding with Replit. So we're here to kind of learn his strategy and how he did it and how you people can replicate it.
Thanks for having me, Billy. As you mentioned, yeah, I watched your YouTube video with Greg and kind of just took that method and kind of.
He's using the script.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. I'm looking forward to discuss. Thank you so much.
Give me a second. Come on, I'm trying to see something else.
Was it sunny outside? Eating down here. We don't feel like sunglasses. Don't feel like I'm cool enough. I do a bit, but you could wear it. You could wear them. I could. No. You start doing 700,000 cash section. It's your card every month. Let's go. You guys gotta learn the skills. I hope this starts to motivate you guys. Let's go. Huh? Why would you wear sunglasses during the podcast? So weird. You always wear them. Do I wear them on training calls? You wear them at night. At night? Where? Where do I wear them at night? Was it sunny outside? Here. They don't feel like sunglasses. Don't feel like I'm cool enough. They do look good, but you could wear them. Like you could wear them. I could. No, dude. You start doing 700 pounds on catch section. It's your car every month. Let's go. You guys gotta learn the skills. I hope this starts to. Okay, I think I figured.
Remember that social media?
I'm hooking up all my 8-figure HVACs.
He was punched in the head so hard he saw a flash of white, and he soon realized his vision had changed. Curved objects started to look pixelated, and tap water.
No way! The kids are right there. No way! Look at the. What type of the early Father's Day gift? This is the love that God talks about. This is the one. Opus Clip trains on viral moments like some boxers train on. I just touched down in Ohio and let me.
All right. That's it for me today, guys. Much love. Peace.